Hello, welcome back to Man v Film. Today I'm going to be talking about the super exciting aspect of money. Not money we're making, but money we're actually throwing away. Finances for the collector. Now ultimately this is a hobby. It's disposable income that I or yourselves spend on something that gives us joy. Movies. And to be honest, everybody's disposable income is different and everybody has the pleasure of spending their money on whatever they want, even though a lot of the community seem determined on telling people the value of things and whether they should buy it or not. It's your money, do with it as you wish, as long as it brings you a little bit of joy. But the world has changed. The world has been changing over the past couple of years. We are seeing notable rises in costs of everything. Everyday items, food, electricity, gas, all these things are starting to jump up. But salaries, wages don't seem to be increasing as much as these other items, and sooner or later things are going to have to be paid for. There are more important things in movies and blu-rays and streaming services and other such things, making sure the family's fed and that there's clothing on their backs and that the house is warm and that they have a house to live in are all far more important things. But when you look at Blu-rays and you look at 4K discs in the current market, you see that the prices are starting to creep up. They have been for the past year or two, and they're getting to the point where it's becoming unable to keep up with what I once did. Last year was a banner year for me. I think I bought more discs last year than I'd ever done before. I also watched more discs than I'd ever done before. Watched over 400 discs last year, which was fantastic. I'm not too sure how many I bought, but I know that's how many I watched. And suddenly the tail end of December hits, the beginning of January hits, and the cold light of day shines on you, and you realise that that was a great year. That was an outlier. That is something that probably is not going to happen again. And as such, you need to look at what is really worth getting. Now, I am somewhat of an Arrow fan. I have been for the longest while, and their recent movies have left a lot to be desired in my eyes of releases of things that I wanted to buy. But I have become more and more enamoured with the Arrow player, and I've been watching more and more things on there rather than buying them. Looking at January releases, I watched The Mangler, I watched Shock, I watched Red Angel, all before they were out in discs, with commentaries and extras on that site as well. Whereas I could have bought movies, I watched them all. Deadly Games as well. So the 4 releases this month, which if I was to buy in cash was £76. My rental for Arrow Player for the month was £5. That seems like a better option for me. And then you know Arrow's always going to have sales, so later down the line if I want to pick up these titles I can at a much reduced price, as long as I'm willing to miss out on a booklet, which to be honest that seems fine with me. Other titles, other companies are releasing more and more expensive editions of titles, and it's becoming to a point where you have to pick and choose what you're getting. I have to pre-plan the movies that I am looking to get. Things will have to be missed out on, and that's perfectly fine. It's just a product, and if you can't buy it, you can't buy it. But I feel as if we've got to a stage now where the boutiques are almost cannibalising themselves, looking for us to pick and choose our favourite child almost out of these groups. You know, what do you want? Do you want an Arrow this month or a Masters of Cinema or something? There's only a finite amount of money. There's only so much money I have. I'm assuming that nobody out there is super rich and there's only a certain amount of money each of you has to spend on Blu-rays each month. My budget has got a hell of a lot smaller. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You know, I think we get into, or I certainly got into a habit last year of just buying anything that I wanted, which is the wrong way to be about it. I think there should be a little bit of thought put into it, looking at titles and going, do I really need that? Is that the version that I want? Can I wait several months and get a much cheaper version? Am I using the booklet, the poster? Does the hard box mean anything to me? Looking at all these aspects and going, what is the most important thing? How do I get the most bang for my buck? Which is how I'm starting to look at things. Sales are always wonderful and something that I'm going to be using a lot more. The Arrow Player is a great service for try before you buy. I should watch things there, and then if I want something, I will pick it up in a sale later down the line. There of course will be titles that I must buy immediately. That's just the way it is. Shawscope Volume 2 will be one of those titles that I grab. The Hitcher in 4K, Drive in 4K, those kind of movies are all things that I'm going to pick up immediately because those are movies I love. But then there's other things that you just don't need to buy. There's other things where I feel that they're really taking advantage of collectors. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. I have the collector's editions of all his movies in 4K that came out, and I think they're terrific. I'm happy I bought them. But I've just seen a collector's edition from Escape from LA. I really do like Escape from LA. I watched it long ago because I got it on iTunes in 4K for a couple of pounds. But looking at that collector's edition is downright embarrassing. 2 stickers, 6 art cards, and a box. £35. No, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, do you know what? The standard edition I will get, maybe even wait till it drops into a 2 for 20 sale or something. I can bide my time. Finances, state of the world, everything's coming into play, and it's making harder choices for the typical fan who doesn't have as much disposable income. Or I don't. If you do, well done. You've made some probably better life choices than I have, and I'm happy for you. If you're similarly like me, hopefully we can engage each other, find good deals, which I've been posting on the community tabs, hopefully not encourage each other too much, and we can save some money and make some wiser choices this year. Of course, there's always the resale market, which I will be using a lot, which you'll hear about more in an upcoming video, or maybe it's already been posted. I don't know how I'm going to layer these videos out. But thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'd love to know your thoughts on finances, state of the world, prices within the boutiques, and how you make your choices. And if you're willing to share a rough budget of what you're happy to spend each month on Blu-rays and 4Ks. I'd be really interested in that kind of information, just to see, compare my money against that. Anyway, I've got more content up here if you want to see more of my stuff. If you want to click the link button, that would be amazing. If you want to support me on Patreon or membership, and all the costs for that, all the money from that goes into the running costs of the channel, I would really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Man v Film.